Story 1. 4 years, Walmart has sold a generic human insulin under their brand name Relion, manufactured by Novo Nordisk. The cash price for a vial of regular insulin is $26, and it can be purchased over the counter with no insurance. In the 38 years I've been a type 1 diabetic, this has literally saved my life on multiple occasions. Say what you want about Walmart as a company, but ain't nobody else willing to sell affordable insulin to keep type 1 diabetics alive when they don't have insurance. Note, Walmart doesn't manufacture the insulin. They repack and sell it. Thanks, no Telesum.
I work in the private label and store brand realm. The majority of the premium you pay for some name brand items is for marketing and advertising. Sure, there's an extra retailer's margin, but it's not as significant. The real reason you pay 2 times as much for Dawn and Cascade is for Procter & Gamble's Olympics and Super Bowl ads and to pay influencers. Store brands do their own distribution and don't advertise. Also, they don't have to pay for their own shelf space. Therefore, it is way cheaper.
That's how insulin is measured in units. And there's normally 300 units in a vial. For example, if my blood sugar is 300 and I need to take insulin to bring it down, I'll take 8 units of fast-acting insulin.
Powder for sure. Why Walmart is so good is because they don't have to worry about their other products. They can just make their powder really good. Cascade deliberately makes their powder less powerful than their liquid packs because their packs are more profitable. Technology Connections on YouTube has a series on dishwashers. He commonly recommends Walmart powder. After all, it's only $5. Can't hurt to try.
Story 2. Bowed shower curtain rod. It gave me 10 extra inches of elbow room for the world's narrowest tub in my tiny apartment. If I ever meet the person who invented it, I'm gonna kiss them on the mouth. Chuckles.
I invented it. It was me. So, what do you want to meet?
Looks like he died in 2023. Too bad. He could have gotten a free smooch.
Story 3. A tire air compressor. It easily inflates our tires as needed, and it has saved me and my wife in emergencies at least twice. Have one in each trunk.
I was on a job interview a month ago, about 90 minutes away from home. I was just there to make the job center shut up. I got a tire pressure warning and had to figure out which tire was bad. Well, fortunately, Ford has by default in the Mark III Focus a full tire puncture repair kit in the trunk. It includes a small 12-volt air compressor for the cigarette lighter, complete with a pressure gauge. It ended up just being the front right tire being low at 1.5 bar instead of 2.1. Funny enough, it happens almost every time I drive the car long distances on the Autobahn. But I was so glad I had that little pump, even if it was a bit of a pain to use. I really need to get a decent one though. It needs to be 12 volts. I do not trust lithium-ion batteries in my car long term.
I have the 1600 Watt DeWalt one, and so does my dad. It has been working well for a few years now. It's such a nice assurance that I can do tire repairs on the side of the road now, and it has been used mainly for that. I've had a lot of flats the past few years. The other day I hit a pothole and got a flat. I went to put the spare on, and it had only 5 psi in it. Of course I didn't have my tire pump with me. I still limped to a gas station just around the corner, but that might not be possible in some circumstances. I'm sure you can find a cheaper option, but this is just what has worked for me. Like this other one, which is apparently top-rated and is 1,000 watts. I suppose it depends on what sort of power you want or need. The air compressor in mine will run forever though, and it can still jump a V6 car fine and have plenty of charge left.
Chuckles. People laughed when I brought my jump pack and air compressor into work to charge, but they never hesitated to ask to use it when their cars wouldn't start in the winter. Mr. Boy Scout has been stranded once because he needed a jump and never again.
Story 4. Prescription sunglasses. You can get your old lenses from an old pair of glasses, as long as the frame is in good shape. Dyed for $10 to $25 per lens.
No freaking way. Now, this is a valuable comment. I had no idea this was a thing.
The point is, if you have frames you love, you can get them made into sunglasses. It's not about buying new ones.
I bought a little spring-operated attachment for my existing glasses at a truck stop for about $15. It makes wearing my prescription glasses on sunny days much easier.
Story 5. My first dog as an adult. I worked at the animal shelter where I adopted her from. Employees got one adoption fee waived every 3 years, so she was free. She passed away on December 24th, 2024, but she's still the love of my life. She taught me what unconditional love was and inspired me to be a better person. I still try to be the person she thought I was. She was a big, white, fluffy Siberian husky who was as stubborn as she was sweet. Her name was Gwendolyn, and she was my best babe.
I'm sorry for your loss. I lost my soulmate on April 9th, 2024, and I can't get another dog because he was just too perfect. My cats were $243 with taxes each, but honestly, they're the best money I have ever spent. They have done more for my mental health than any amount of therapy ever did. Just having two furry little friends that follow me around everywhere and demand attention. My boy seems to know when I am struggling and will headbutt my face and rub his head all over my cheeks while chirping like a bird. It's impossible not to smile at that.
There's nothing like the love our pets have to give.
Thank you. She was the best babe. I got a tattoo of one of her favorite toys, so I'll be able to carry a bit of her with me.
Story 6. I paid more, but you can get an air fryer for basically as cheap as you want within reason, and it'll work wonders for you in the kitchen.
I got an air fryer about a year ago and only used it a handful of times. Maybe I need to experiment with it more, but right now I don't understand all the hype.
Agreed. I got one as a gift. Never thought I'd use it. I used that thing almost twice a day. When it died, and I had to wait weeks for my new one, I was so upset.
I don't understand the need for an air fryer. Tell me some good exclusive air fryer meals before I throw mine away. Chuckles.
Story 7. A pop socket wallet. I absolutely love that thing. I hate purses, so I was constantly leaving my driver's license at home. Now I have my ID and a credit card at all times in case I need them.
I had to Google what this was and realized it was a card holder that attaches to your smartphone. Very cool.
Story 8. About 15 years ago, a microplane grater. Soft cheese, hard cheese, zesting citrus, frozen ginger, garlic, hard spices, etc. I love the thing.
I only got on this train last year, but I tell you, I put peeled ginger and peeled garlic cloves in the freezer, so they're fresh and ready for cooking, and microplaning them into recipes is so easy. Chuckles. I can't say enough good things about this.
I'll add to this that the brand Microplane makes a difference here. I struggled for years thinking I just sucked at zesting lemons and limes. I tried an actual microplane and saw how easy zesting could be. Don't waste your money on a cheap kitchen plane.
I learned recently these are a wear item. Treat yourself to a new one. It's love all over again.
Story 9. Motion-activated night lights. I no longer fumble around in the dark if I have to get up for something.
I replaced multiple light switches in my house with motion sensor lights. They stay on for 5 minutes after detecting motion, and I can click them to keep them on permanently. It takes only 5 minutes to install each one.
Relatedly, I prefer showering under natural light. I hate having to turn the regular lights on in the bathroom, and the little night light that I use in there for most things isn't enough to light up the shower once the curtain is closed. That makes showering in winter, when the sun is gone before 4 or 5, a chore rather than the relaxing pleasure it should or could be. I only recently learned of shower lamps. Waterproof, rechargeable, with multiple color options. It completely changes the experience of nighttime showering.
Story 10. Psilocybin, also known as magic mushrooms. Only dabbled a little back in the spring or early summer of 2025. It wasn't normally something I would consider, since I don't enjoy recreational drugs, especially marijuana. Anyway, I started microdosing for a little bit, and it greatly improved my mental health and put me in a good mood. Also, as an artist, it really helped with creativity and passion for creating and researching. I seemed to become a more mindful and compassionate person. I've been apprehensive about relying on this drug, so I've only tried it on a quarterly basis when I'm home alone. My last trip was very cathartic. It allowed me to have a full-blown ugly cry, then a few minutes later, an enlightened happiness and calmness. It was like the secret to recalibrating my system to equilibrium. I would definitely suggest and recommend that others try it in small quantities in a safe space.
I've always been fascinated by this. The spirit is willing, the funds are there, but the challenge is to identify a vendor. How did you navigate this challenge?
Story 11. Period panties. Never have to purchase pads or get irritated by their material again. They're so comfortable.
I actually use cloth pads. That way I can just change the pad instead of the whole panty, and they're so much more comfortable than disposable pads. Mine are from Isle. I bought them years ago, and I just throw them in the wash immediately after use, and they've held up great. I've since started using a menstrual disc and just use the cloth pads as a backup panty liner on heavy flow days.
You shouldn't put them through the dryer, and I add laundry sanitizer to the wash load, too. I looked around online, and different period panty brands advise different things. Mine are Thinx, and it says it's not recommended to put them in the dryer, which makes sense to me, given how heat breaks down synthetics.
I send them through the dryer. Chuckles, I've had my Intimate Portal brand undies for years from Amazon, and no problem so far.
Story 12. Air fryer. I got one on sale for $45, and it's probably saved me hundreds of dollars. I hate cooking, a mix of ADHD, not being able to pay attention, and I can't stand on my leg that long. But this stupid thing has made it so easy to cook basic things. I actually buy groceries instead of constant takeout. It's wild.
Indeed, they're so handy. There's so many things you can make in these, and I really like the grill vegetables. Home-fried potatoes are super easy to make. You just cut the potatoes into cubes, toss them in a little oil with seasoning, and throw them into the air fryer. Turn them occasionally until they're done. Delicious and healthier than French fries. You can add some cut-up peppers or onions in the last 5 minutes.
Same. I take no advice from my coworkers because they have the worst takes, but they cooked with this one.
I was an air fryer hater until I got one, and it's one of my most used appliances next to my rice cooker.
Story 13. A kitchen scale. Not only for calorie tracking, but also for ensuring recipe consistency. No more ugh. Today my smoothie is too thin, or oops, I made too much pasta mishaps.
Learning to cook by weight instead of volume is such a game changer. It's way more consistent.
Story 14. Home shoes with arch support and cushioning. They saved me after 1.5 years of back pain and neck pain, along with stretching and being conscious of posture.
I've gone the opposite direction with barefoot shoes, and it's fixed problems in my body that I didn't even know I had. Truly life-changing.
Story 15. My reusable menstrual cup. It saved me so much money, saved the planet, and once I learned how to use it, it's made me no longer fear an accident or surprise around my period.
When you pee, the disc pushes forward just enough to let blood out. Once you get up, your bodily anatomy pushes the disc back into place behind your pelvis.
I even bought a cheap generic brand one, and it's lasted me years. It's comfortable to use even when I'm not on my period, just being proactive the day before. And it takes up less space in my bag than a day's worth of emergency tampons.
Correct. It's not the same case. Your muscles naturally hold the disc in place when just sitting or at rest. You kind of need the active, relaxing motion, such as when you pee, to allow the muscles to shift the disc to auto-dump. Your mileage may vary with this. Everyone's internal anatomy is a little different, and our organs shift over the course of our cycle. So you may find that auto-dumping comes more or less easily, or you may find that you leak more or less. Don't be afraid to try a few different ones. I tried a cup in 3 different discs before I settled on the one that works best for me.
Story 16. An old school Merkur safety razor and a box of quality feathered double-edged razor blades. Less than $50 for both items, and a box of 50 blades lasts me about 1.5 years and costs $20 to replace when the time rolls around. Cleaner, easier all-around shave, and good riddance to the world of expensive disposable razors.
Most definitely not an easier all-around shave than either disposable or electric options. Cleaner and cheaper? Yes. Easier? No.
You can get a 10-pack of disposable razors at a convenience store or a chain supermarket for $2. A friend of mine got a sharpenable straight razor. No annual cost required. It lasts for life. I say pick one of those options. They're both cheaper than whatever the original poster or anyone else is doing. Gillette can eat my ass.
I think my own fear was the only reason that was true. After I got used to it, shaving was just as easy. Anytime I cut myself, I would have been cut with a disposable as well. The process was a little longer, but only slightly.
Story 17. Bamboo toast tongs. They're only a few dollars, and I use them for lots of things besides saving my fingers from getting burned. Story 18. Egg cooker. I love soft-boiled eggs, and it takes all the work, that is, closely watching the clock, out of it. Story 19. A charger with 3 ports. Apple Lightning, USB-C, and micro USB. Comes in handy when someone needs to charge their phone at work. You can get 2 in a box from Amazon for about $20, I think.
Just make sure it's not some generic cheapo Chinese knockoff brand.
The generic cheapo Chinese knockoff brands do work perfectly fine, though. They don't always support data transfers, but if you're just trying to charge your phone, they absolutely get the job done.
Yeah, I get you. Chuckles. As long as it's an iPhone and not an elf phone.
Story 20. A pack of high-quality socks. No more sweaty feet, no blisters, no random holes after just 2 washes. Story 21. A collapsible backpack. By far my favorite travel item. For budget traveling, I'll wear anything to get my backpack under the maximum carry-on size. And then on the plane, I'll put all those extra clothes into the collapsible bag, effectively giving me 2 carry-ons, instead of stuffing my extra clothes back into the already packed main bag on a crowded plane. And then while on my trip, I can use my backpack as a suitcase while I make my day trips with the collapsible bag.
I bought an Osprey Porter 40-liter travel pack and a Daylight Plus backpack. They meet the maximum size for carry-on and personal item without going over. You can jam the Porter full and cinch it down tight to maximize what you can bring. The best part is you can attach the Daylight to the Porter and only carry 1 bag once you land. They're also exceedingly comfortable to carry.
Story 22. A good pair of noise-canceling earbuds. They made travel, studying, and focus so much easier.
As a student in a noisier household, what's the recommendation? I've heard loop earplugs are pretty nice, but I only have those for concerts.
Story 23. I'm buying a ton of small bowls at thrift stores, so I always have clean bowls for my cat's wet food. I have 3 cats, and previously I only had 4 bowls, so it was always bowl washing. I bought about 20 small dishes at the Salvation Army and Goodwill. So convenient. It cost me under $20.
I used to feed my cats using glass mice-in-place bowls, the kind that cooks use for staging chopped ingredients. They're about 3 inches in diameter. This worked well from my perspective. They were cheap, so I had a lot, and I could just put them in the dishwasher. Until I read an article saying that cats are stressed when their whiskers touch the sides of the bowl, and one should always use shallow bowls. I then picked up a bunch of shallow stainless steel bowls, about 5 inches wide. At $3 or $4 each, I have enough that I never run out. I can just give them a brief hand wash to get the chunky bits off and then put them in the dishwasher.
Story 24. A 6-cup hard plastic drink holder with a handle from the dollar store. I leave it in my trunk, and it's so useful when picking up drinks for a group. It's more stable than the cardboard ones stores provide. It has 2 extra holders, so the cup holders in my car can still be used. Plus, the center handle makes it even more stable. But I've also used it to bring home succulents from the nursery and to store plastic cutlery for a party. And it would probably be great for art supplies like markers, crayons, and such. Story 25. A decent pillow, hands down. The first night I slept on it, I woke up feeling like a man who suddenly understood why older guys always look so annoyingly well-rested. It's wild how one little upgrade can make you feel 10 years younger, or at least make you look like you didn't spend the night wrestling your own spine. Men our age know. Comfort is sexy, and anyone who says otherwise hasn't discovered the right pillow yet.
Please dish the dirt on what you bought. I just returned my 4th crappy new pillow today.
Story 26. Rollerblade-style wheels for my office chair. Not as big a deal on carpet, but on hard surfaces, it's a game changer. Story 27. Zyrtec, the allergy medicine. I'm highly allergic to cats and dust mites. I used to take pseudoephedrine or diphenhydramine, but my allergies were still terrible on those. I still get issues when I dust or am around cats, but nowhere near as bad as I used to. When I don't take my meds and am exposed to something, I am just a total mess. Story 28. A decent pair of earplugs for sleeping. I spent about $30 on some moldable silicone ones after years of being a light sleeper. Went from waking up 4 times a night to sleeping straight through. Genuinely life-changing for such a stupidly simple thing. Story 29. I have a Canadian expat friend whose parents became snowbirds and drop into town once a year. My wife has them deliver EpiPens to her every few years for $10 versus the $600 they charge for the same product in the States. Chuckles. Story 30. A $12 phone stand for my nightstand. It sounds dumb, but I stopped falling asleep holding my phone and dropping it on my face at 1 a.m. It also forced me to actually put it down instead of scrolling until my eyes gave up.
This has reminded me to put my phone away. Night.
Story 31. My dog Castile, he was free initially, but lots of vet bills since he was a rescue. I wouldn't trade him for anything in this world.
Sounds like he was a godsend. Tuko badum deets. I'll see myself out.
Story 32. The comfy original wearable blanket. I have Raynaud's, which means my blood vessels constrict so blood doesn't flow normally, especially when it's cold or with any cold exposure like winter, rain, holding a can of soda, eating ice cream, anything that causes a chill. My fingers and toes get minimal blood flow and turn white. They don't work and feel like frostbite. The chill runs through my body and I'm freezing. I often literally cry from the cold pain. The comfy blanket has thick Sherpa inside and a hood. It's super warm and heats up my body fast. It's life-changing. Story 33. A decent pair of earplugs for sleeping. I resisted for years because it felt dramatic. Turns out I'd just been sleeping terribly my entire adult life and didn't know it.
Loop Quiet, the silicone ones. $20, and honestly, the best money I've spent in years.
Story 34. Nasal strips. Sticking one of these on my nose every single night has improved my sleep like I never could have imagined. I buy them in bulk, 150 for only €10. Story 35. A cheap daily planner. Sounds boring, but my anxiety dropped significantly when my tasks stopped living rent-free in my head. Story 36. Motion-activated soft light for midnight potty runs. Enough light to avoid tripping on anything, but not bright enough to fully wake you up or disturb your partner. I'm back to sleep in seconds when returning to bed, versus an hour after inevitably bumping into something. Story 37. My dog, and I'm not even kidding. I adopted her a couple of years after moving out from my parents' home and to a new city with my partner. I was, for the most part, at my lowest, having been incredibly depressed, anxious, and just lonely all the time. It got to a point that I was on anxiety medication for a while, and while there's nothing wrong with that, I knew that I was really going through it. My partner and I had toyed with the idea of getting a dog, and I had looked at a few for weeks. That is, until I saw that my girl was currently being fostered due to being stressed in the shelter. I made plans to meet with her foster mom one random weekday at a local park, just for the sake of getting to know more about her. I left with her that same day. Shortly after, I found myself stepping out of my comfort zone to be there for her, helping her with her own fears and anxieties. We would go on adventures together, and she helped put things into perspective for me. Mental health has always been a struggle, but sometimes all it takes is learning how to tackle it and having the right support system. I am happy to say that shortly after I adopted my sweet girl, I got off of anxiety medication and learned how to cope with my anxiety in other ways. I still get anxious, but when I do, my girl is always close by to help. Story 38. Vertical mouse. For those with hand issues due to rheumatoid arthritis, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and so on, give it a shot. It's been a huge help for both work and recreational computer use. Story 39. As a creative in the digital space, a pocket that sticks to the back of my laptop for when I'm using my solid-state drive. Story 40. The plastic head massager with spikes really helps give my scalp a great clean and get the dandruff out of there. Story 41. Bidet. Tushy makes some great add-on products around this price. Toto Japanese toilets are very expensive but wonderful. A $15.99 spray gun and a hose attachment can do the same job with a bit of flexibility. Chuckles, your anus will thank you. Story 42. A boot warmer and dryer for my work boots. It's so nice having nice, dry, warm, and toasty boots every morning for work. Also, a chain breaker I got from Harbor Freight for my dirt bikes. Story 43. Easy. A squeeze bottle bidet. Literally like $5. It sits next to my toilet, and it's also easy to throw into my suitcase on a trip. Truly the best purchase I've made in years, and my ass agrees. Story 44. A Lexi Home Tri-Ply stainless steel non-stick pan from TJ Maxx. I think it was $30, and I have made the most perfect pancakes, over easy fried eggs, potatoes, grilled sandwiches, and so on, that I have ever made in my life. It makes cooking less stressful, more fun, and you feel accomplished putting out good-looking and properly cooked food. I highly recommend it. It also cleans up really well and doesn't lose its non-stick capability. You just put a light amount of soap and hot water in the pan, use your hand to clean it, then rinse, and it's good to go. I even just use a paper towel lightly rubbed inside after something less messy like eggs. Story 45. A bullet journal. Well, a journal using that method, the original, not the artsy show-off one. I was handling affairs for several deceased family members at once, and without that specific kind of organization, I never would have managed. Story 46. A tile for my keys. It also rings back to find my phone. I lose things a lot, so it's pretty essential to my life. Story 47. A bidet attachment from Amazon for like $30. Not even joking, it changed everything. Story 48. A cast iron skillet. By challenging myself to cook everything in it, I've stepped up my cooking game dramatically. Story 49. A slow cooker is amazing. It lets you plan your life and cook the proteins the way you love. Cook them. If you know, you know. Story 50. A $35 bidet that attaches to the intake supply on toilets. It's very refreshing. By the way, I do have a heated one in the upstairs bathroom, but I do love the cheap one too. Story 51. Milk frother, the automatic frother and heater. I have an Arachino 3 Plus Nespresso machine. Never used the Nespresso. I have used it countless times to get a cup of coffee, chocolate, tea, or anything else that would require boiling water in no time. Add water, add, for example, powdered milk, chocolate, and sugar, press a button, and voila. Less than 2 minutes for a cup of any beverage at the right temperature. It's like magic. Story 52. $20 bidet. Unfortunately, it spoils you for the rest of the world. Not using a bidet feels like caveman activity. Chuckles. Story 53. I'll give you 2 options, both under $20. 1. A battery-operated coffee whisk. 2. A French press from Walmart. Both will significantly improve your morning coffee, with little extra cleanup and way better coffee. Use the whisk to froth milk or creamer before pouring it over your French-pressed fresh coffee. I brought mine to the office, and they've become a regularly requested chuckles. Hey, can I borrow that item each day? Story 54. Get a kilowatt meter and a book on how to put your house on an energy diet. Cut our monthly energy bill in half.
My area has some of the highest electricity rates in the country. Many people with homes of our size are paying $800 a month, or even much more, on their energy bills. Actually, with the meter and app, we cut our electricity use in half. But because of tiered rates, the bills went down more than half, since we knocked usage off the most expensive tier.
Story 55. A sleep mask. If your room isn't fully dark, this helps a lot. I fall asleep faster and wake up less. Story 56. Condoms. They didn't change my life per se, but I'd say they did a good job preserving the status quo. Story 57. Warm my cats. Everyone I've ever had has been a rescue kitty or one that I found. And my 2 I have now, Pigwidgeon and Poppy, fill my life with love and silliness. Chuckles. Story 58. Earplugs. I had a cat that was noisy, then a husband who snores and 2 babies. I've been sleeping with earplugs since 2009, and it's been a game changer. Story 59. I got my Charlie for $25 at the Humane Society right after Christmas 3 years ago. He had just been turned in, and I was first through the door delivering DoorDash to the staff there. He was the exact dog that I was looking for, and I know it was meant to be for me to be there right at that moment. Story 60. Garden Weasel Nut Gatherer. It has a long handle with a metal cage attached. You roll it along the ground, and it picks up nuts that have fallen from a tree. I have a huge walnut tree, and it saved my ankle from being broken by stepping on a walnut and it rolling away. Story 61. A decent sleep mask. I thought they were dramatic and extra until I actually tried one and realized I'd been half sleeping for years because of random light. Now I pack it everywhere like a little diva. Chuckles, also a basic foam roller. It felt like one of those fitness influencer things, but 10 minutes on that after work and my back stopped hating me. I used to just complain and pop ibuprofen like that was a personality trait. Story 62. A small Bluetooth speaker. I need to listen to the television to fall asleep, but I don't want to bother anyone else with the sound. I put the television on a timer so it will turn itself off and put the speaker on the pillow right above my head. I can hear it perfectly. If I move the speaker even just off to my side on the nightstand, I can't hear it from there. So, a perfect solution to let me and only me hear the television and fall asleep. Satisfied. Story 63. I use a TENS unit, transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation, for the nerve pain in the C5-C6 section of my neck from spondylosis. My spine pinches the nerve, causing my muscles to tense up, which pinches the nerve even more, eventually leading to a muscle spasm that does nerve damage. This makes me lose strength in my right arm and causes numbness in my hand. I got it treated by a doctor, and the main part of that treatment was getting hooked up to a massive TENS machine 3 times a week for an hour. I couldn't afford the copays, but come to find out, I could get a personal one from Amazon for like $35. It's the exact same thing, just fits in the palm of my hand instead of being a massive machine. Now I can treat it whenever I feel it starting to flare up, letting me treat it before the muscle spasm. It also helps the pinched nerve heal within a couple of weeks instead of 3+ months. Story 64. I found the deodorant that works perfectly with my body, and now I don't sweat a drop even under extreme stress. Before this, I suffered major depression from excessive sweating. Thoughts like, what's wrong with me? Is this hyperhidrosis? Will I ever get over it? Now I have my regular one for weekends and the good one only for work. I started looking at the actual chemical ingredients on the labels and went from there, trying different ones until I magically found the one that changed my life. Story 65. Bath seat board. I'm no longer thinking every day that I might die by breaking my neck when taking a shower. Didn't even have to pay for it. Story 66. Mr. Coffee Iced Coffee Maker. It was on sale for $25, down from $35 about 4 years ago, and it's the best $25 I've spent in a long time. I still go to Starbucks once in a while, but doing it at home is great. Story 67. Dusting slippers. I have hardwood floors. I just pop those bad boys on, and my floors get a nice little cleaning action. Story 68. The Philips Norelco One-Blade Trimmer. I've had it for over 2 years. Cost $14 at Target. I couldn't be more satisfied with the product. Story 69. A bidet attachment from Amazon for like $35. Not even joking, it changed everything. Can't believe I lived without one for so long. Story 70. A sleeping bag at Walmart for $20. It changed my life and I love it. It saved me from the winter, and it's great for the summer as well. Story 71. A pair of rubber things I put over my shoes when cycling in the rain. They are a godsend, only $1.50 a pair. I also wear all the other regular rain gear, but the rubber things were a game changer. Story 72. Creatine powder. I've been suffering from chronic muscle pain, especially in my legs, for years, sometimes to a debilitating degree. Taking magnesium tablets daily usually prevented the worst, and massages brought at least temporary relief, but it was still pretty bad. One day, I was looking up metabolic diseases, and in one Wikipedia article, it said that creatine can be a remedy in some cases. I went to the local drugstore, bought their house brand tub for $9, maybe half empty by now, and started taking it right away. It's been almost 4 months now, and whereas before I would feel lucky if I had 3 pain-free days in a row, I'm now down to maybe 3 days of this pain per month, if even that. Story 73. Compression socks. I have POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, and struggled with my legs pooling blood, making me lightheaded all the time. It was also hard for me to go upstairs, even though I'm young and thin. My socks make it easier to get upstairs, have reduced the swelling in my legs, and I found that my feet aren't cold all the time because blood isn't pooling in them. Story 74. Blood pressure monitor. I had hypertension and didn't know it until that day I bought a blood pressure checker on sale at Winco for like $25. Story 75. A box of 3M neon earplugs. I've got pairs in my car, my guitar case, and every tool bag. I take 5 or so pairs to every concert and hand them out. Story 76. Milk Drop 3. It's a digital visualizer. For those old enough, think Winamp. I bought it, started playing with digital visuals, and now I'm getting paid to be a visual jockey. Story 77. My folding pocket knife. You can get pocket knives with good quality steel for under $50 now. I use mine multiple times a day for cutting fruits and other foods, opening letters and boxes, packages, and so on. The other day, I forgot it at home and had to use a key to open a package. Never again. I'd feel naked without it. Story 78. Mocha pot for $15 US. Cheap and high-quality coffee at home. Fountain pen Pilot Kakuno F for $7 US. So smooth for my arthritic hands, it made me regain the love of writing. Midori MD S6 notebook for $10 US. The good paper pushed me to write more. Story 79. A pack of condoms, keeping me from the horror I've seen my friends go through. Story 80. My dog cost me $2. We fostered him, and if you foster fail, they charge you a nominal fee for adoption. He's the best. Story 81. Glasses with red lenses. I wear them after 8:30 every night, and I sleep much better. Story 82. A tiny little sound machine. I use it at home and at the fire station and sleep like a baby. Story 83. Electrolytes. Turns out, hydration isn't just about drinking water. We're all chronically dehydrated. Chuckles. Story 84. A photo booth strip of the ex and his side chick. Chuckles filed for divorce right away. Story 85. Just slightly over $50. I think 55. But the Eternal Muse heatless hair curler. This thing is magic. 2 minutes to wrap my hair at night, and 2 minutes to unwrap and shake it out in the morning. My hair has never been healthier or looked better. I've tried other brands, but they have a rod in them that makes them extremely uncomfortable. But this brand is soft and pillowy and so easy to sleep in. Story 86. Un buen par de tapones para los oídos para dormir. Pensé que eran una exageración, hasta que empecé a dormir profundo de verdad. Cambió mi energía, mi humor y mi paciencia con todo el mundo. Tu turno. Story 87. Instant Pot when it was under $50. George Foreman Grill.
Victorinox Chefeskniff.
I also have a cheap blender I use for food processing. Being able to easily make yourself healthy and quality foods will always change your life. But for many, it could even save it.